What's going on, Mega team? Welcome back to our channel. Today we're going to be answering the question, where is Bitcoin going to be bottoming out? And we're going to find a few different areas extended from what we already told you about our 18,000, 20,000-ish zone. And we're going to lock in a few other price targets for potential capitulation even lower. We're also going to talk about why I would actually assume and why I think this final move down is going to be the last move down for Bitcoin before we see some sort of bounce. And whether that bounce really results in a new uptrend, or whether that bounce results in a macro uptrend, or whether it's just a short-term bounce and everything goes up for a bit and then crashes back down below it, that's another question for another time. But today's video, we're talking about that short-term, what to expect to happen, what you should be doing, and how you can react and act in these current times. Before we go ahead and get started, I do want to mention that my Twitter account is currently shadow banned for some reason. I don't know what I posted. Maybe they're sick of me telling the truth. Maybe they're sick of having someone on Twitter actually telling you guys what to do. Who knows? Whatever reason it is, I'm shadow banned and I probably won't be on Twitter for about a week. So if you do want daily updates and daily analysis throughout the day, including obviously these videos, but throughout the day, go ahead and join our Crypto Signal channel over here. We have the link down in the comment section below and over here. You can just go ahead and join it. We do daily updates, market analysis, a whole range of different things in over here that we would usually post on Twitter. Now we're just going to be posting it over here for about a week. We'll be back on Twitter later. So let's go ahead and dive right into the video. First and foremost, guys, Bitcoin is in a descending wedge and we have broken out of that descending wedge to the downside. We're going to use this chart today primarily because I want to go ahead and walk you through the analysis in a little bit more detail, exactly to how I came up with my levels, exactly to where I think the levels are going to be for us to need a flip and where we can find some support. So first and foremost, let's start with this chart, and I'm not going to go into too much because we'll cover this chart a lot, but I told you guys way back in December and January that this chart, the price was up over here at the time, that this chart is the most important chart in cryptocurrency. And I've had people say in the last few days, maybe your chart's wrong. Maybe, well, the chart isn't wrong. The chart has been incredibly accurate the last 9 years. It's not wrong this time. This chart has been able to predict bull market cycles, bear market cycles, exact tops with absolute precision 3 times. All right, these 3 tops I called perfectly because of this chart. It predicted when we were blowing off top. All right, this is where altcoins rallied massively. It also predicted where we would find initial support potentially at this dotted line and where we would absolute bottom out. Worst case scenario, we come down, touch a solid line. So this chart has been incredibly accurate, and going off historical data, going off the 200-day moving average, going off this chart, we can assume that the absolute bottom for Bitcoin, whether it be a candle, whether it be a wick, whether it be a scam drop, it doesn't matter. We think it would be around $18,000, maybe a little bit under $18,000. And we're going to come and talk about why I think maybe a little bit under in just a moment, but about $18,000 is that target, give or take a little bit. And of course, it's held historical relevance throughout the entirety of this 9-year period. And remember, guys, this 9-year cycle, this 9-year channel, this 9-year trend has facilitated 3 separate bull runs and now the 3rd bear cycle. All right, it's facilitated 6 separate cycles. This is an incredibly strong trend. It's a trend that we do not want to lose. And if we lose $18,000, which we'll talk about today, it's going to result in some significant negative impacts for analysis techniques for a macro scale, as we need to then establish a new macro trend to analyze further. So let's go ahead and take a look at Bitcoin. And we can see we have this chart over here. I'm going to go ahead and draw some other zones in quite a second. First and foremost, we have some horizontal resistances, at that $28,000 level, of course. 28,600 is that weekly low for Bitcoin over here, and that extends down to 28,000. So I'm going to go ahead and draw the text coordinates in for 28,000 as well. So don't be fooled, 28,600, yes, it's a major support. Yes, it's a major resistance, but that is not a horizontal area. That is a zone. It's a zone. So it's not just a horizontal level. It actually spans this zone over here, this gray box where that resistance and support sits. I know a lot of people are saying $28,000 is that major resistance. Yes, that's correct, but it's not it's not completely correct. We do have that little bit of zone there. Moving up from there, of course, we have that 30,000. I'm not going to go and put all these in. We have 30,000. 36,000 is a pretty big one. 36 to 37 is a huge one. We're going to go and put 36 to 37 in. We'll go ahead and input that on the chart over here. Let's just make it nice and quick. All right, so moving up from there, we obviously have our major one sitting around 47 to 48. All right, good enough, 47, 48. And then obviously from there, we're gonna not put anything else in. But those are our major zones on the Bitcoin chart. And looking below to where we are now, we have another major zone sitting around 17,500-ish, 17,600, up to mid to low 19,000. And this is a very major support zone, because if we go ahead and look back in Bitcoin chart, we can see this occupied the all-time high for Bitcoin in 2017. So in essence, if we come down and retest in that 19,000, that low $19,000 level, $20,000 level, which we are currently at $20,295, we are actually retesting the previous all-time high of the 2017 cycle. And going off altcoins alone, if we're looking at some of the altcoins, what altcoins are we doing, there's a chance we actually lose this level. And I think, guys, if we do lose this level, if we lose 17,500, going back to this chart, we're losing this uptrending support line. And I think that's more significant than you probably think. Like I said already, if we lose our uptrending support line, we have to establish a new macro trend before we can analyze how the chart is looking like on a macro scale, if we want a macro pattern. The whole reason why this whole cycle here was so predictable, and people are going to tell you it was impossible to predict a top, it was impossible to predict this. Incorrect. I predicted all of it with absolute precision. The reason it was so easy to do was because we had this macro, or should I say historical price action that reflected a pattern that was very similar, and we could infer that pattern into the previous cycle or into the current future price action to predict where we think the price will be heading, what levels we think the price will be bottoming or topping, etc. If we lose this, we can no longer reflect on all of this 9 years of data to predict the future. We have to use primarily analysis techniques or market analysis on the short term, predict short-term movements and expand that to the larger time frame using speculation. So a little bit more difficult, a little bit less, a little bit up to more speculation, should I say. So we definitely don't want that to be lost. But like I said, if we do lose this level, where's the next target? And I told you guys a long time ago, the next target for Bitcoin, if we lose that level, we take our measured move from our ascending channel. And a lot of people messaged me in the last few days saying, you know, people were expecting 12K, blah, 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 blah. Well, actually, guys, I was one of the first people to tell you guys that 12K target was possible if we lose this level. Remember, we have our ascending channel here. We take our measured move from base to base or top to top that takes us down to that 14,000 initially. Remember, that was our first one. Then we have our dotted line to dotted line. Do you remember, if you remember correctly, we had that dotted line to dotted line. Dotted line was slightly higher. It was slightly higher. And that was that larger scale, sorry. That was that larger measured move. If we go ahead and take the top to a dotted line, I'm not going to bring up the chart. I don't have it on me anymore. I deleted that chart. And then we take that extension to that top. It took us down to $12,000. So that is the lowest I think Bitcoin will go. If we do lose 17,000, if we do lose 18,000, I think the absolute lowest we will see Bitcoin go is $12,000. And $12,000 is a significant zone on the chart as well. This isn't just some random zone. This is actually a zone that has some pretty significant, or should I say pretty large significance on the chart. And we can go ahead and show you. We have a lot of resistance around the zone. A lot of resistance around the zone. We have finally broke through our resistance. We saw a significant push upwards into the current zone that we are retesting. Once again, we found support at 12,000. We found a lot of resistance at 12,000. This zone has acted as a very strong level on the chart, and it's a POC line as well on the VRPV. If I remember correctly, I can bring it up in a second. Let's take a look. It might be a little bit lower now, but it was around, yeah, pretty close to that level. So this zone, if we actually go ahead and bring up again, we can see how the volume instantly increases of historical buying pressure. Look at 12,000, right? See how we got a very, very small amount, instant spike, right? It's valley pushing straight upwards, indicating yes, in fact, that's a very strong buying zone, a very strong support zone for the chart. So guys, there is the analysis for today. I'm going to go ahead and do a technical analysis next, bring up some indicators. But I do want to quickly say, this here is a strong buy zone. You want to be looking to enter as close to the lower end. And if we go ahead and just show you this over here, for example, you know, look at this candle over here, push downwards, retested the bottom, right? You want to wait for something like that. You want to enter at the lowest possible point of this channel as you can, of this support zone as you can. You want to try catch that 18,000, right? And then if you lose that 18,000 on the daily, that is when you go ahead and sell. So 18,000 is that looking to enter. Sorry, my back's a little sore. And then you look to sell if we lose that level, and the target will be $12,000. All right, it is really as simple as that. Now, before we get into our technical analysis, I actually want to show you this. If we invert the chart, we can clearly see this zone is a very strong zone of resistance, and it would act as some sort of neckline zone. And necklines are usually horizontal levels, but in this instance, we're going to assume that we can actually extrapolate a neckline to a resistance zone over a few $1,000s. Now, this of course isn't a standard analysis technique, but I would like to go ahead and just assume this is a possibility for the sake of its analysis and use it as a neckline. And we're going to assume that necklines act as a resistance. In this instance, it will act as support. We flip the chart, act as a resistance. We can definitely see something like this, where we bounce into it, we do not go lower, we form the bottom, we push back into that wedge, break that falling wedge or that rising wedge, and push upwards to this range. That is 100% a possibility, and it's a possibility I'm considering massively. When should you enter if that occurs? Well, if that occurs, you would have already have entered down over here. That would be your entry because you're buying within this range. Your second entry would be here, the breakout of this falling wedge. All right. Let's go ahead and flip this chart back to the normal scale. And sorry, I said I was going to get into a technical analysis, but we're getting a little carried away here. There's a lot to talk about. If we push past this major resistance, so we got a major downtrending resistance, which is this black lower support of the descending wedge. This is our first resistance. There's a very high probability we push up to retest the downtrending resistance of the wedge, which is this one. Now, we do have a major resistance zone, which is acting as that $27,000, $28,000 zone. If we flip that zone, we will instantly push up to, obviously not instantly like that. It will take a few days, take a few weeks maybe. But we will push up to this range between, $36,000 to $38,000. Simple as that. This is where it gets interesting. After $38,000, you'll see the VPVR. We have a slope. That indicates we have lower historical buying or selling pressure. It's more likely for our price to push upwards to that next mountain, which sits around 48. After 48, we break that high, we enter a bull market, or we enter a macro uptrend. So, is the bottom closer than you think? Yes. Is it potentially just around the corner? Yes, it absolutely is potentially just around the corner. Should you be prepared to get into the market? Yes, you need to prepare yourself. We're getting very close to the time of action. And guess what? The lower we go, the lower we get to this level, the more people you're going to hear, the more FUD you're going to hear, the more people you're going to call for 10,000, 10,000, 8,000, 2,000, whatever the hell you're going to hear. Media's going to start saying crypto is dead. Everyone's going to start saying crypto is dead. It's happened before. It will happen again. I've been through this 2 or 3 times now. I've seen it every single time. People will say, I remember the day this candle occurred. I saw so many news outlets and people say crypto was absolutely dead and it would never recover. My family was telling me I'm wasting my money buying crypto. They was like, how much have you lost? How much have you lost? Well, I didn't really lose anything really. But I was aggressively purchasing throughout this entire period right over here. I remember I was purchasing a hell of a lot of altcoins and a lot of Bitcoin. And I clearly remember the day that candle dropped. I remember very, very vividly. It was absolute chaos because in 2017, believe it or not, it almost felt like the media picked up on cryptocurrency a lot more. It was more publicized, it was more talked about, it was more attractive as to 2021 for some reason. I think in 2021 there was a lot more going on with stocks, a lot more going on with the housing market. It was diluted, but in 2017, crypto really was the big thing. So going back to there, going back to here, going back to any time within this period, people have always said crypto is dead because when the downtrend begins, people get bearish, and there's no reason why you shouldn't. And I've been bearish the entire time, but I am bearish, but I have a understanding of why it's happening. If you're bearish and you don't know why it's happening, you assume doom and gloom. If you're bearish and you don't have price targets, you don't know what's happening, you're going to assume the worst case scenario. If you're bearish and you have price targets, you know where the price is going, you have areas in which you want to buy for support, and you understand zones on the chart that have significance, then you got a plan. So have a plan, guys. That's what I'm trying to say. It took me a while to get to that point. Have a plan, understand what's occurring. I'm going to take a quick break. I actually want to introduce you guys to Bitget Exchange, and then we'll go on to our technical analysis and talk about what the technicals are saying and what, can we support our data that we just told you? Can we support this with technical analysis? Okay, so we'll take a moment and talk about Bitget. Okay guys, so we're going to take a look at Bitget next, and I highly recommend sign to Bitget. This is where I personally trade. So if you want to be trading where I trade on a daily basis, sign to Bitget. In the comment down below, you'll see the referral link. Just go ahead and click that. You can sign up and you get access to our reward center if you sign up. And there's a whole range of different things you can do here to basically get rewards. And you know, the rewards bonus is up to $4,163 US, which is pretty significant. But you can go ahead and get access to that if you click the link down below. Beyond that, guys, I really do like Bitget Exchange. I'm not just saying that to shill you guys a referral link. Honestly, sign up without the referral link. I don't care. I'm honestly telling you guys 0.02% trading fees is just too good to miss. You just really can't miss it. It's 0.02%, guys. It's insane. But this is the futures over here, and it's a global exchange that doesn't have KYC, so anyone can access this from anywhere in the world and get access to all the tools. So whether you're in Australia and you generally can't access futures, you can sign up here and get access to futures. If you're in, let's say for example, I think the UK and you can't get access to futures, you can sign up here and get access to futures. If you're in America and you can't get access to Binance or Binance Global and you can't access a lot of their spot trading pairs, they have all the spot trading pairs that Binance has over here plus more. They have over 250 spot trading pairs and all the big ones on this exchange that you can trade, and the liquidity is quite high. So I highly recommend signing up here, and of course, like I just mentioned, you get access to our reward center, there's copy trading, there's a whole range of other things, and go ahead and sign up, guys, because it really is probably the best exchange out there. All right, let's go ahead and get back into the video. Okay, so we're going to do a technical analysis now. Before we get into the technical analysis, I do want to just tell you guys how important it is to learn TA. I'm going to show you a few things over here. From a TA perspective, we were able to predict the downtrend was going to occur about 6 months before it even occurred. First and foremost, we predicted that. With TA, we allowed ourselves to predict the bottom of this move almost perfectly to the top, months in advance, and not only that, but we're able to predict this entire move downwards. So technical analysis, guys, is definitely a fundamental skill that you should develop if you're interested in becoming a full-time trader. It really is. So let's go ahead through some technical analysis together. I'm going to show you a few things. We'll go through the charts together and you can learn a little bit. And of course, if you're interested in learning how to trade like myself, if you're interested in learning how to chart like myself, all that kind of good stuff, go ahead and contact me at cryptoacademycourses@gmail.com. The link is down below. You can learn from the best. You can download our 10-unit trading course, how to become a professional trader in 10 units. We've got that down below. All right, so let's get into it. Let's start with our macro. We're going to go ahead and get rid of the VPVR. We will start on that 3-day chart. I'm not going to use anything larger than a 3-day today. We'll start on the 3-day. Ichimoku Cloud looking pretty bearish still, not really telling us too much. And of course, Ichimoku Cloud can give us some entries on the short term, not really telling us too much. We would expect the bull market support band to be still bearish on that 3-day. It is of course still bearish. Gaussian channel is of course still bearish on the 3-day. And all our indicators that we really are going to be focusing on today, such as RSI momentum indicators, that's what I really focus on, is not really going to be telling us too much. Now we do have one thing I do want to point out on the 3-day on the RSI, which is this over here. We can go ahead and draw our top in. We can draw our second top in over here, extending that line downwards. We can take our first bottom over here, take our second bottom over here and extending it downwards. And if we zoom up on that, we can see that Bitcoin has in fact broken downwards from that wedge formation, confirming the momentum is in fact negative. What does this mean? It means it is unlikely that this drop here is a fake out, since we have confirmed bearish momentum. So generally fake outs occur when the price action drops below a trend line, but the RSI doesn't. We don't have the momentum on our side. So in this instance, we can confirm this drop is likely not to be a fake out, and is going to be an extended drop until it finds major support. And like I said, major support sits around 21,000 to 20,000, as well as 19,000 to 18,000, or should I say 17,649. So expecting a bounce from this level, but this is not going to be a fake out. That's going to run it up just as quick as it came down. So keep that in mind. Let's go to a smaller time frame. Let's go to the 1 day. So what is the 1 day telling us? We can draw our trend lines in again. And of course, we have our fake out over here. So what we do, we draw our trend lines to our points of resistance, which is going to be here and here. And we can draw that across. Sorry, let me just zoom out again. Fake out over here. Yep, points of resistance are here and here. We can go ahead and draw that in. There's our points of resistance. Our trend line, we can now draw in a slight uptrend because of course it scales out of that 3-day into that 1 day, it's gonna be a little bit different on RSI now. We've got to adjust it. And we can in fact see we had that retest and rejection over here, confirming that move downwards. That was a confirmation of a breakdown. Of course, we also had the confirmation of the breakdown on the price chart. If we zoom in over here, we can see that we had that confirmation of the breakdown. And of course, this was in fact a fake out. That was exactly what I was talking about before, how we had these fake outs over here. So what do we think is going to happen? Of course, when Bitcoin re-enters this wedge, that is when we expect to look to enter the market. And that is going to occur at either the point at which we bounce from this zone here or break back above here. So we're looking for that entry at the lowest point. All right. Technical indicators aren't really going to be telling us too much. The price has moved significantly in the last few days, so they are lagging a little bit. They're not going to tell us too much. And I have no interest in analyzing that shorter term time frame. What I do want to point out though is technical analysis is more than just using technical indicators. Everything we've done today, from price, diagonal zones, horizontal levels, potential price action, potential buying points, all of that is technical analysis. And you utilize a combination of calculated data, so calculations using historical price action to result in certain things such as the RSI, which tells you momentum, velocity, and speed of price action. MACD, whether or not a coin has that positive momentum. You can use a whole range of other different technical indicators. If you want, I'm not going to go into it, but there's a whole range. But it is more than that. It's also identifying macro structures. It's identifying horizontal zones of support and resistance. It's identifying points of rejection and support. So utilizing technical indicators and technical analysis as a whole is very, very beneficial for your trading. And I hope today's video has been helpful. It's been a little bit of a longer video, but I do want to get on there and tell you guys a quick update on what we think is happening for Bitcoin in a little bit more detail today. And a real quick summary, guys, we are getting very close to our predicted bottom. We are getting very, very close. And I do want to say, if we lose this predicted bottom, expect $12,000. As simple as that. Expect $12,000. From a measured move analysis, it's still very, very relevant. Remember that measured move analysis from the top over here to that bottom of that wedge, applying it to that same point, a breakout, which was over here. We have that $12,000 target. All right. So with that being said, guys, I do want to quickly introduce our VIP channel, and our VIP channel is on Twitter, of course, on Telegram, of course. If you're interested in joining VIP, the link is down below. We do daily trade signals and updates. In the last week, we've done probably over 400-500% profit. We've been doing a little bit of leverage trading lately. We don't usually do leverage trading. It's a spot only channel, but in the last month, we've been doing a little bit more leverage trading with 270% profit on this one, 230% profit on this one. Yeah, that was 200% profit on that one. This one's at 85% profit. So in the last few days, we've been doing a little bit more leverage trading just because the market's been heading downwards. So we're taking some short positions, capitalizing on that, but most of the time we do spot trading. So if you're interested in that, go ahead and contact me down below. You get access to a whole range of things, not just the channel. You get access to direct messages with myself, access to exclusive market updates that I don't share anywhere else. For example, exclusive market updates on here. We had, these few posts talking about the direction, talking about all our other FOMOC stuff. We gave you this on here, only exclusive on VIP on 26th of September. This was 26th of September 2001. We said nothing to panic about yet, just something to keep an eye on that the chart develops over the coming month. We noticed that a shooting star candle on a 6-month chart, which indicates a trend reversal. So we saw a point of reversal on the 6-month chart before we even had that top. And this is just some of the stuff you'll get on VIP. There's a whole lot more, but if you're interested, go ahead and contact me. With that being said, guys, I'll catch you in the next video. Thanks for tuning in.